renderforest.com.
Hi all. I had something different for this week, but I wanted to say to all of my dear wonderful friends in Dayton, I am so sorry for what happened this week in Dayton. I'm sorry for the loss there. I lived there, ministered there for 3 fantastic years. They're wonderful people. I spent time in the Oregon district because my favorite restaurant is there, Thai 9. It just seems so crazy and senseless, and there are no words. I just kind of stared, not even knowing what to say. But it's hard because I talk to my own kids and they don't remember a time before 9/11. They don't remember when school shootings were unheard of. I remember when Columbine happened, it was so unheard of, it was so shocking. I think no matter what side of the political divide you're on, if you're a Christian, you know we need Jesus desperately. We need Jesus desperately. We need a heart change in this country. I really need to up my prayer life even more to God do something. I would love to see this next generation on their faces meeting with God, because only God can change the human heart. This kind of stuff was not happening when I was a kid. It is now, and that's the new reality when you work with kids and families, is this is happening all the time. I had a question this week from someone who said, and this was before the shootings happened, she said, what do we do when you're in ministry and there's been a tragedy? In their case, it was a young person killed themselves in middle school. And that's becoming more and more prevalent as well. By the way, that's a whole nother topic, but when I was in high school, it was very rare we heard of a high schooler killing themselves. These days, I mean, we're talking middle schoolers and elementary school kids killing themselves. I don't understand it. This is a desperate hunger for Jesus. This is a hunger for love. We know that's what our nation needs. We need Jesus. So they were asking, what do you do when you're ministering these types of situations? Now, I never had to minister through any kind of a mass shooting. But I did talk to my dad, and they did have to. It was a small town mass shooting where several police officers were killed and one paralyzed for life, and the shooter was killed. This was back in 1993. It was just a terrible thing, and my dad said the pastors got together, they worked together to try to minister to the families, to try to preach Jesus to them. And one of the state troopers did come to Christ during that whole thing. I think when I was a kid, I was sitting there thinking about, why is it whenever there's a tragedy, do we cook all these big meals? I don't know. See, I'm Pentecostal. I've heard that's a Baptist thing too, but cook all these great big meals. I think I get it more now that I'm an adult, because you feel so powerless. And it's something you can do. It's something physical that you actually can do. So it's okay, I'm going to get my mind on cooking for this big group of people because it's something I can do, rather than have to face this situation. But the best tips I can give you from my experience, we did have to deal in the past with some suicides and with deaths of children from kids' church, stillborn, miscarriage, deaths of parents, things like that. The number one most important thing that everyone would say is presence. You need to be there. You need to drop whatever you're doing and be there, because that's ministry. They're not going to remember what you say. They will remember that you were there. Something about my dad. If he'd hear there was a truck that rolled in the middle of the night, it's 4 a.m., he would get up and go, because he was always taught that's what a pastor does. You need to be there. Presence is extremely important. Don't know what to say? be there with them. Ask them if you can pray. If they say no, then don't. If they say, yes, I want prayer, then pray for them. But this is a time when a lot of them will want a pastor even if they're not a Christian. So be there in those times of tragedy. 2, I would say offer your help even when you don't think they're going to take it. In the town where I live now, this was only a couple years ago, there was a suicide by cop. And all the pastors in town went and asked the police if they could offer their services, counseling and helping. And to their shock, the police were thrilled and were really touched by that and took them up on it. You don't know unless you ask. We have this thing in our head, separation of church and state, so as a minister, I can't go offer to help. Yes, you can. Go offer. The worst they can say is no. Go offer. So if it's happened at a school, go to the school and say, what can our church do to help? What can we do? Can we come in? Can we offer counseling services? Can we pay for counseling services? Can we offer meals? Thank you to Tie 9. I saw Tie 9 was down there in the Oregon district offering meals to EMTs, first responders, police officers. That's what churches should be doing in these types of crisis. Go offer your help. Don't just say they're not going to help because they're not going to want us because we're a church. You ask. I think you'd be shocked how much they do want the help. Say, what can we do? Can we bring bottled water? Can we bring food? Can we offer counseling? Can we open up our church to take in like hurricane victims? Our church did that. Open up your church doors to take in hurricane victims. That's what the church is for. You know, number 1, we're proclaiming Christ. 2, we got to love people. We've got to be there in those times of crisis. That's the number 1 time when you're going to reach people. So those are the top 2 tips I can give is presence. You've got to be there. 2, go offer your help even if you don't know what to do. 3, go get yourself some more training on it. I had to do this one. I was a brand new children's pastor, thought I knew so much. I knew nothing. And I had a kid from kids' church. He came home and his mom had died of an opioid overdose. And he was angry and he was grieving and I had no idea how to handle it. So I went and took classes on grief care. It was one of the best things I ever did. It was really smart. I needed to go get some help. Find that training near you. Go do it. Go find that training. And 4, this kind of goes right along with it. Partner with other churches. This is not an us versus them, especially in any kind of an emergency or tragedy situation, and also with other services, because our church was partnering with grief counseling and grief share. Our church was partnering with so-called secular services, psychological, counselors and doctors, and the church works well partnering with all different other areas. It doesn't all have to come from your church. You can partner and say, here's what we can do, here's what we have to offer, and when we partner with others, we're stronger. So if you remember those 4 things in a tragedy, number 1, be there. Get yourself there, be there and just be with them. 2, offer to do something. Offer what you can do. You can't offer what you don't have, but offer what you can do. What do you need? Here's what we can do. 3, go get extra training. If it hasn't happened to you yet, it will. There's going to be tragedy because it's human beings and we're on earth. Go get help. Go get training now. There is training available. Go find it. And 4, partner with the other churches in the area and others, other secular places. Together we can do so much more. Like, I know the church there in Dayton has been partnering with Convoy of Hope during the tornado damage. See, I feel so bad for you, Dayton. You've had all the tornado damage, stuff destroyed, and now this. We love you guys. Please stay strong. It sounds so bad to say, thoughts and prayers, but you honestly are in my prayers. We love you, Dayton. You're in our thoughts. I was checking to see that the people I knew were alive, and then I thought how many families found out that theirs were not coming home. So whatever we can do to help, this is when the church needs to be the church. And thank you guys for all you do for Jesus and his kids. I'm catching a flight tomorrow to speak for ministry in Mississippi, so it's going to be hot. So I'll probably be coming to you live from Mississippi. But I love you guys. Thank you for the ministry that you do. I'll see you next week.